Hi, I'm Craig Cameron. Hey, if you're looking to buy a new horse or trade a horse, find a good ranch horse, using horse, trail type horse, this is going to be the show for you. Got 4 horses that we got to choose from. I'm going to show you some great techniques to help you pick out the right horse for you. That's coming up next on Ride Smart. Our first horse is named Izzy. She's a little dun horse, got a lot of nice color to her, but don't let that color always fool you. Let's start at the head. You know, she's got a pretty good little head. It's not a perfect head, but it's nice. She's got a good eye, kind of a soft eye, but look, her neck is a little bit short and a little bit thick here, but overall not too bad. She's a little straight in those shoulders, so she might be a little rough trotting, but her front legs look good and straight, and she certainly has some good black feet. She's got a pretty good depth in her heart girth. That's her heart and lung capacity, and her back is not really too long. You know, I mean, it's not perfect, but it's certainly not too bad. Now turn her away from us, and you know, pretty good withers, and her tail set is a little bit high, sticking out right there, but again, not just too bad on her hind quarters or her hip right there. Got a pretty good drive shaft. Now turn her to the side one more time, but overall, she's got a pretty clean appearance. Turn her a little more, Paul, this way so we can get a good look at her. But you know, overall, she looks good, but I've noticed she's kind of pushing around on Paul just a little bit, you know, and I want to take that into account when I go to working my horse, and certainly when I go to buying a horse. So, you know, overall, this is not a bad looking horse. We'll bring her back in a little bit and watch her move. Well, here's our second horse. Good looking kind of sorrel horse. Boy, he's big kind of soggy made horse, and he just looks good to me overall. About the same age, and this horse is called TBird. So let's start at the head again. You know, and his head is not perfect. I mean, it's a little bit big. We're looking for that little kind of pretty triangular shaped head, but overall, not bad. I mean, it's got some good balance to it. Pretty soft, good brown, placid eye. Now, when I get to that neck, looks like he's got a pretty level top line here, but that neck is a little bit short and a little bit thick. Not terrible bad though, but just short, and I'd like to see a little more refinement here. But boy, he's big in the chest, which shows me he's got some power, and if you look at him overall, he's got a lot of bone. Boy, I mean, which means shows some substance to me and less apt to kind of break down. Now, he's got a pretty good slope to his shoulders here, you know, not bad, which hopefully is going to give him a nice smooth ride. Boy, again, got good muscle in here, and as I look at him from the front, his legs are nice and straight with a big flat knee. I kind of like that. And now as I look at him from the side, he's got a good slope in those pasterns, which help give me that good cushion and a soft ride, especially in the trot. Now again, his withers could be a little more defined here to hold that saddle in place, but he's nice and deep in the heart girth, and but looks good. And his back doesn't seem to be too long, maybe just a hair long, but he's kind of camped out. So I'm gonna get Paul to step him backwards a step, and let me get a better look at that. Don't let him deceive you. Now, that gave me a little better look here, but again, it's just a little bit long right here through the loins, not too bad. But again, I see a nice bend in his hocks and tons of bone and pretty good foot on this horse. Now turn him this way where we can get a good look at him, like so. Boy, and he's got a really good hindquarters, a good tail set, and look at him here. He's got a nice tail. Boy, a big bend in those hocks. Turn him sideways one more time. Let me get one more look at him. Got a nice mane, but overall, this horse looks pretty decent to me. I like the look of this horse, and you know what? Look how gently he's standing there. Remember, this one is a gelding. This is TBird, so don't forget him. This horse is named Murphy, and he's probably the oldest of the 4 horses. This is a gelding, so let's start at the head. You know, I think so far of the horses we looked at, he has the prettiest head. It's a little bit shorter, real triangular, got a really good soft eye, you know, and his mouth is kind of shallow, which makes him really be able to be more responsive to that bit. But as I get to the neck, again, boy, he's got kind of a thick neck. He's almost a little bit cresty right here. So again, he's a little bit high right here, but he certainly has a good slope to that shoulder. And if you notice, he's definitely built heavier in the front end than he is in the hind end. But again, he's kind of a big, solid type horse, but that might be just a ticket for a good ranch horse or a trail horse, kind of using type horse. You know, obviously, again, he's pretty straight-legged. He looks real good from the front, really good, nice oval feet, real black. All his feet are black except for one, so he's probably a good-footed horse and got a real good slope in that pastern, which is going to give us that good cushion trot that we're always looking for. Hey, this horse so far maybe has the best withers. And remember, it's that withers that's going to really hold that saddle in place, real deep in the heart girth, back, you know, maybe just a little bit long again through here. You don't like that back to flatten out. You want it to go down and immediately come up, but he's certainly strong over his loins, and again, a big hind quarter. Turn him away from me. Let's get a look from him right here. All right, and his tail set is maybe just a little bit high, but boy, look at that gaskin muscle inside and out. Again, he had a good slope. Back him up one more step for me, Paul, if you would. Back him up one step and let's look at him. Kind of even him up if you can. There, that's good. That looks good. And he looks real good on the back end, real powerful. Boy, and look at that tail, real pretty tail. Turn him where I can get a look at him this way now. Turn him a little bit. Boy, and look at the mane on this side. So again, that's pretty, and we certainly like the good looks on our horses. So this certainly looks like a big, strong type of horse, the kind that we might be looking for to be that perfect ranch style trail type horse. Well, we're down to our last horse, another big sorrel gelding. His name is Cowboy, and look, he's real growthy and kind of rangy looking to me. I mean, you may even really like him, but you know, I want to watch him here, and again, I look at his head, not a real bad head, but you know, again, I notice his eyes are kind of far apart, and he's kind of got a small eye, or what we call a pig eye a little bit. Not as pretty eyes maybe some of the horses, but you know, he's got a good mouth. But a lot of the horses we've had here have been kind of short-necked, and this is where we talk about balance. We'd like this part to be the same length as from here to here. And if you watch this horse here, he's fairly long here and fairly short from here to here. But you know, he's got a little bit of a slope, maybe just a little bit straight, but not terrible bad. You know, again, he's way up off the ground. His cannon bones are a little bit longer than some of the other horses here, and a little straighter in the pastern, which might give us a little bit of more of a jarring type trot. We would just have to see. He's got pretty good muscling in the chest. He's got a good withers, and he's fairly deep in that heart girth, but then again, he kind of narrows down just a little bit, not quite as strong over those loins as I'd like him to be, but boy, right here, he's almost a little bit too much as he narrows down in the hips. Now again, I watch him and he's a little bit straight-legged in the back end, and then those hocks aren't set down quite as low as I like. So again, his overall appearance, turn him away from us if you would, and let's look at him like this. All right, and again, his hip could be just a little bit bigger. You know, he's a little bit slight in the hindquarters, and remember, that's his drive shaft, his motor. That's going to be very important to us. And again, those hocks up off the ground. Turning one more time this way. Let's get a look at him here. And again, as I watch Paul handle him, maybe he's even a little less responsive, but you know, he's not a bad looking gelding overall. But you know, again, it's going to depend on how he moves when we put him in the pen, his overall appearance, how we're going to like him. We're going to evaluate all these horses when we take them right back into that corral and watch them move. Hey, there's lots of decisions to make when you pick out that perfect horse, and that's all coming up next on Ride Smart. Your tack tip for today, the equipment you might bring when you're going to check out or purchase a horse. You know, the equipment I brought was I brought my own saddle pad and my own saddle. Don't get into that deal where the guy says, well, I got a saddle and this and that. Hey, bring your own equipment. You're going to get a better evaluation, better feel for that horse. So my own pad, own saddle. Hey, I brought my Craig Cameron cue stick and a flag. Brought my own snaffle bit that I'm used to. Good rope halter, my 50-foot horse handling rope, and I didn't want to forget my good pulling collar right here so that that horse would get a really good feel when I was actually up on him, riding him and working him. You know, good equipment's going to make you have a better evaluation of that horse, and I think it's going to help you a lot to make the correct decision. Hey, that's your tack tip for today.
And now back to Ride Smart with Craig Cameron.
All right, now we're going to evaluate our horses in the round pen. What I'm going to do is just kind of check them out a little bit and move them around the pen and watch them. So right here, I'm checking my horse. Doesn't seem spooky. You know, I could throw that rope around them a little bit and just kind of check them out, and all that stuff's checking out pretty nice so far, and I certainly like the way she's just standing there. Remember, she had pretty decent conformation as well. This is our the only little mare that we got in the group, so let's just turn her loose and see what she's going to do. You know, I don't get in a hurry to just drive them off. I'm just curious to kind of see what they'll do, and she immediately kind of moves off and turns away from me and checks things out, and we certainly allow her to do that. Now, again, as long as she's just going to stand there, I might as well kind of move her. Boy, and she just picks up that correct left lead just right away. So again, let's go this way and drive her around that pen, picking up the correct lead all the way. You know, I want to get a little bit of the fresh off these horses before I try to evaluate them. So again, I'm going to let them move. Now let's let her stop here. Whoa, good. I want to send her that other way. Here, let her go a little bit. That's better. See, she gets a little choppy in her gaits, but she does find that correct lead, and I like the way that she came back to me just then. That was pretty good. So I'm gonna see if she'll let me walk up here and pet her. Boy, she licks her lips, she blinks her eyes, she kind of wants to come to me, and I certainly like that type of stuff. Now notice when I walk away, she didn't really come with me. Now she's starting to come. Now let's see if we can move her off real soft and evaluate that trot. You know, trying to get a little of that fresh off this horse. Now let's really watch her move and see if she'll just move off soft, 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 ask her to go like that. Now, boy, I see that big old high knee action. Look at that. That's that high knee action. You know, I'm not real partial to that. I'd much rather see her, keep her feet real close to the ground, what we call a real flat knee action, instead of lifting those feet real high like she's doing there. Now, I want to just stop her. Whoa, whoa. She didn't come to me as good as she could. As long as she's going to put that head over the fence, let's send her that other direction. Again, I want to ask her to go. Or she really wanted to come to me, I want to push her to a canter the opposite direction, like so. Here, and see her. Boy, she really rocks back, picks up the correct lead, but her back feet are out of sequence. Let's speed her up and get them correct, like that. There. And she gets a little playful. Here, let's ask her to go. Looking better here. But you know, again, to me, she could certainly be just a little bit smoother. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'd like to see her get a little bit smoother, but you know, we'll have to really check her out when we ride her. But I didn't like that she wasn't as smooth as she could have been, as responsive, turning into me, paying a little more attention to me. I would have liked that just a little bit better. Now this horse, again, a little more responsive on that, or not necessarily in a good way. I'd like him to be more soft here. Again, you can see he's a little bit on guard on that kind of stuff. Here, a little bit spooky, a little bit unsure. I want to certainly take that into consideration. Here, when I go to buy a horse like this, let's just see where he's at. Slap him on his side just a little bit, check him out. Now I'm gonna bring him back one time, just like this. Whoa. And again, he's trying to get better, but it shows me he hasn't really been desensitized. See that head up and those ears back. All right, I'm gonna let him move around the pen. Hey, you help check that walk, that trot, that canter with me, and just his demeanor overall. All right, I'll shake that flag at him. We can tell he's nervous about that too. Boy, and that's something I want to really kind of be aware of, because I'm always looking for a good, gentle horse. Isn't it always the green person that always says, I want that horse with spirit? You know, I always say, I hope you can control it. So I want to control this horse. Look how nervous he gets right there. shows me maybe he's lacking a little bit somewhere in his training, as nice looking horse as he is. I thought in our confirmation evaluation, he was actually one of the best looking horses. Now watch his trot. It's very extended, almost nervous, and he pushes to a real soft canter. But boy, I'd like to see him slow that trot down as he relaxes. Now I'm gonna push him to that canter, and let's see if he picks up the correct lead. Here, picks up a good lead, and it looks like he's softening up a little bit to me. Head wants to come down. Let's stop him and just see how he stops. Whoa, boom. When he gives us a good stop, picks up the correct lead. Sometimes I'll do that. I'll just jump in front of them just to check out their athleticism. I'll do it one more time for you. I'm getting ready. Whoa, boom. Here, and he kind of shuts down on that front end a little bit, but he does push off with the hind end. Picks up the correct lead. That was a little better stop, but there. And this time he does look at me. Watch him. And I like a horse that does that kind of stuff. He kind of spooks in place. I'm gonna walk in here and catch my horse and just see how it is that I like him or don't like him. I wanna see if he's settled just a little bit, but boy, he's got a great look to him. Come in here and catch my horse and see if he's gonna have settled down any. Put my halter on. Little unsure, but you know, I think he could certainly get better. But boy, what a big, growthy, nice gelding he is. He moved in here pretty good, and you know, I think he's getting better. All right, here we got old Murphy. Remember that movie, Murphy's Romance? I'd like to think it would be a good romance between myself and this horse if things went good. And you know, he's not too spooky. Isn't he kind of a nice looking horse? I think this horse could certainly make a good ranch horse, and my job's getting harder almost as I go along. So I'm gonna ask him to move, and I like the fact that he's not spooked like that. And drive him around the pen and just watch the way he carries himself. You know, it's pretty good. Watch him here. I mean, he doesn't really act spooked or anything. Here, here, and he moves away from pressure pretty nice. Even though he brought that head up, he's not real troubled about it. So I'm gonna come in here and reassure old Murphy. Look at that old head come down there. That's soft. You know, when you're picking out your horse, you want a horse that's not gonna be spooking and running off, you know, because as a trail rider, we're going lots of different places. We're going out on the trail, we're out on the ranch, or whatever it is that we might be doing, and we want the horses to be good, to be gentle, to be desensitized. Now, let's just watch this old pony move. Boy, you know, a guy, sometimes buying a horse is tough. I think sometimes it's tougher than buying a car because you don't necessarily get a guarantee. You don't get a warranty for so many miles. Now, I think this horse got a pretty good trot as he moves around here. It looks fairly soft, but you know, and he's watching what's going on around him. He's not really watching me, but he's the first horse that didn't move off kind of spooky. But as I look at him, his back does look a little bit long. Look how long. And watch how he reaches way up underneath himself though. Let's extend to the canter. Here we go. And he picks up a pretty nice left lead as he travels to the left. I want to see if he's scared of that flag. Here, not too bad. Now watch, let's step in front of this horse. Let's step in front. Whoa, boom. Now boy, he stopped on his hindquarters. Let's drive him out. Picks up the correct lead. See him? He's watching those other horses. He's got his head over the corral, and I'd like to see that head come down. But he's traveling pretty nice, real strong on the hind end. Here comes that stop. Boom, boom. And boy, pretty athletic. We do it again. Boom. And just let's see where he ends up. Whoa, here. Whoa, son. Watch him now. Well, I'd like to see him turn around and want to look over here to us. And I'll try to position in a way that allows him to do it. Boy, and he is pretty headed, isn't he? Let's allow him to come to us. Nice job. Good. We'll give him a little test here. Right there. He says, what's that guy doing? Well, that's getting better. You know, I thought this horse moved around pretty nice. He did pretty good. He traveled good. Certainly big and strong. Hey, what do you think? Which horse so far would you be choosing? Look at old Cowboy. That's Cowboy. Now, somebody has done some desensitizing on him. which, boy, that part's nice. You know, in the conformation, he didn't come out on top, I didn't think, did you? But boy, here at the start, I mean, he seems soft and seems willing and pretty sure about me. So boy, that's nice. Let's see what he does here when I just ask him to move. And I might even bring up my flag on a horse like this to check him out. Here, not real trouble about it. So boy, somebody's done some good work on this part here. Notice that he's not pulling on my hands. And boy, this horse looks like he's got a pretty good trot. You know, he's pretty soft, and I don't want him pulling on my hands, so I'll bump him off here. Let's make a quick direction change, see how he responds, moves that shoulder, and drive him forward. I could swing that rope in his eye. Certainly doesn't seem to trouble old Cowboy too much. Whoa. Bring him on in here, turn him loose, and let him travel at liberty. You know, it's important that you pick the right horse. If you get a horse that doesn't suit you, your experience, what it is you're trying to do, you know what, horsemanship is not nearly as much fun. So take your time and don't get in a rush, and you might want to evaluate a horse several times before you make that important decision. All right, let's ask him to go forward here, drive him forward, and let's, again, we saw that good trot. And pretty good trot, even though he's picking those knees up just a little bit. Look at the good level top line. Got a good reach up underneath and pretty quick here. Again, and I like the way he's dropping his left ear looking at me. Let's push him to canter. Here, drive him forward, picks up a good left lead. Again, he puts that ear back. I can't tell if he's really troubled or he's just watching me, but he seems okay. And he's really traveling pretty. Let's see where he goes. Whoa. And he turns right into us, wanting to. Let's see if we can bring him back. This horse moved around pretty nice. Certainly wasn't troubled, certainly wasn't scared. And that's gonna help him out in my evaluation. Hey, which horse are you partial to? Which horse is gonna fit you? When we come back, we're gonna make our decision and cut one horse out. Craig Cameron Horsemanship Clinics at the Double Horn Ranch are designed to fit each rider's individual needs. 5 different round pens, corrals, arenas, and the original Extreme Cowboy race course make great horses and riders.
I learned more in 3 days than I have the first 35 years I rode a horse.
It was like having a private lesson. Even though it was a group, it was like having a private lesson.
Yeah, you'll wear out the Wrangler in your jeans, I tell you.
Advance your horsemanship and come ride like a champion with me at the Double Horn Ranch.
And now back to Ride Smart with Craig Cameron.
You know, I was gonna make a decision, but I'll be honest with you, I'm not ready to make a decision. You know, it's gotten a lot tougher than I thought it was gonna be. So on the next show, I'm gonna saddle them up, and that's gonna help me to make my decision on which horse that I want. Don't forget, here's your choices. Our mare Izzy, we got TBird, Murphy, and Cowboy. Hey, this is gonna be fun, and we'll see you next time on Ride Smart.